Hi everyone and welcome to your channel. My goal behind this video is to make it most easy tutorial on ComfyUI out there. I'm so confident that by the end of this video, you should be able to understand, install and run ComfyUI with so much confidence that if you don't do it, I will return your money back. So let's get started. So what is ComfyUI? ComfyUI is simply an interface which is node based to deal with stable diffusion models. Stable diffusion is simply a text to image or image to image model from Stability AI. There are a lot of variations of these stable diffusion models now, but we are not going to go into those details. We will be focusing on ComfyUI in this video. ComfyUI is a node-based interface to use these models. When we say node-based, this is quite an old concept. If you have ever worked in other text to image or image processing or image generation tools like Maya, Blender, Cinema 4D, which are 20 to 30 years old, you must be aware of concept of nodes because these node based tools are standard for these industries, and that is why ComfyUI is so popular among professionals who want to generate images with the help of AI. Nodes are simply piece of codes which take input and provide you output. In ComfyUI, we use nodes to provide input such as models, checkpoints, prompt and images. We can also use these nodes to modify or edit parameters of nodes such as steps, scale and stuff like that. And then from these nodes, we get the output out. Nodes can be very easily created and managed in ComfyUI using your mouse pointer, and I will show you very shortly after we get this ComfyUI installed on our local system. You can install it on Windows, you can install it on Mac OS or Linux, wherever you have graphical user interface. The steps are the same. So let's get started. First, we are going to install this ComfyUI. Then I will explain to you different components of ComfyUI, and then we will look at what exactly nodes are and then how different nodes differ from each other. That is what we are going to do in this video. Before I do that, let me give a huge shout out to Mast Compute who are sponsoring the VM and GPU for this video. If you're looking to rent a GPU on affordable prices, I will drop the link to their website in video's description. Plus, I'm also going to give you a coupon code of 50% discount on a range of GPUs, so please do check them out. So let me take you to my local terminal. I'm using Ubuntu 22.04 and I have one GPU card of NVIDIA RTX A6000 with 48 GB of VRAM. Another beauty of this ComfyUI is that you can even run it on 4 GB of VRAM on your laptop. If you have RTX 3090 or 3050, something like that, you can easily run it on. Okay, so let me clear the screen. First up, let me create a virtual environment with the help of Conda. So we are going to install ComfyUI now. So this virtual environment helps us in keeping everything separate from my local system so that whatever I'm installing, it won't interfere whatever is installed already. So my Conda environment is created. It is not mandatory, you don't have to create it, but I would highly recommend it. And if you don't know what Conda is, how to install it, plus search my channel, you should be able to find it. But that step is optional. You don't want to create it, don't do it. But this one, where I'm installing all the prerequisites like torch, torch vision, torch audio, this is a must. So let's install all of these prerequisites which are required for ComfyUI. Let's run it. It is going to take a bit of a time, 2 to 3 minutes, so let's wait. So these ones are done. Let's install few more, which include transformers, xformer, hugging face. This is again going to take a minute, so let's wait. And all the prerequisites are done now. Let me clear the screen. Next up, let's git clone the repo of this ComfyUI. Let's run it. And ComfyUI is cloned and we are into that ComfyUI directory. Then we need to install all the requirements from the root of this ComfyUI's repo. Again, let's wait for a couple of minutes. And that is all done. Let me clear the screen. Next up, installation is all complete. In order to run the ComfyUI, all you need to do is to run this command from the root of repo python main.py. So let me run it. And you can see that it has started ComfyUI on our local system at the port 8188. It is also telling us how much VRAM we have and all that stuff. So let's go to our local host and access it on our port 8188. And as soon as you access it, you see that we have now ComfyUI installed running, and this is a default workflow which is already loaded. Now let me first show you what that is. So before we do anything with it, it is extremely important to understand what exactly this thing is in front of you, because installing ComfyUI, as you already saw, it's not hard. What really makes people confused and really makes it a bit hard is this interface where we have all of these boxes. These boxes are what we call nodes, and then all these links or lines going from one box to another. How this thing works, this is what we are going to learn in this video, because as long as you understand these basics and foundations, trust me, you will be very good to go and you can handle any workflow or anything in ComfyUI. So let's start from scratch and try to learn what exactly these things are. So on the right hand side, you see this is a menu. Simply click on clear here. It is going to clear everything. Okay. And now we have blank canvas here. So first, let's try to understand what exactly the nodes are and how we use this interface. In order to create a node, all we need to do is to simply right click here and then click on add node, and you will see there are a lot of different types of nodes which are available here. There are utils, sampling, so don't worry about all of these, because I will be telling you a method through which you would be able to very simply create your own workflow with the help of these nodes. So first up, in this add node, in this loader, let's click on load checkpoint. Checkpoint means these are the weights of the model or the model itself. But don't worry about too much. Now, in order to handle this node, a node again is a basic building block of ComfyUI. Everything works on nodes here. It's a basic element of user interface. So you just click on it and then you can drag, you can drop, you can move around. Maybe I'll just put it here. You can also, shrink it, just move your mouse over it, and then you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. Now every node has some inputs and they have some output, and that's how we connect them. On the left hand side, you see this gray dot. This is its input which it receives from outside world, and then on the right hand side there are three colors, pink, yellow and purple. These are the outputs. These from here we connect it to the outside world. Now for example, you want to connect it to something else. What would you do? You would simply just click on this purple one and then just drag this line, release your mouse, and you will see that whatever nodes are compatible with this output have already popped up here. Simply maybe click on case sampler, and don't worry about what case sampler is. I will describe it shortly along with other nodes. Again, I am moving this node here, and you see it automatically, the input from node 1, which is load checkpoint, is connected to node 2, which is case sampler. The output of node 1, which is model, is connected to the input of node 2, which is model again, right? So this is how you connect these nodes. Also, for example, if you want to connect this one, so if I just try to connect it to this model like here, it won't work because this is not compatible. So this is the beauty of ComfyUI, that it tries to make sure that you don't do the wrong things. Now, there are various other things in this case sampler which we will discuss later, but now you understand how you create the nodes and then how you connect them easily in this graphical user interface. Also, if you click on this node, it got selected. If you want to select both of these nodes, just press Control, or if you're using Mac OS or any other, just press CMD and then also click on second one. Both nodes are selected. Got it? Yeah. So 1, 2. So this is how easy it is. Okay, so now you know how to connect these nodes. Also, you can do the prompt execution where you can, for example, if I just clear it, it is just going to delete everything here. And then if you just say load default, it is going to load this default workflow for you. If you want to run this workflow, all you need to do is you just click on this Q prompt. This error means that there are no models available, because remember, ComfyUI is just a user interface. It doesn't have its own model. So we also have to load the model, which I will show you shortly. But for now, we are just trying to understand how this thing works. Now, if you want to clear it, simply press on clear. It will go away. But I just want to keep it because now I want to show you what exactly all of these nodes mean, because as long as you understand these nodes in this default workflow, you should be good. Let me try to arrange this thing here so that it will be easier to follow along. Let me try to make it. Also, another cool thing is if you zoom out, it is going to make the screen shorter like I'm doing now, so that if you want to fit all of it in one screen, you could do that. Okay, so I'm just clicking on this cross at the right hand side just to hide it. If you click on these three, it will appear again. So I'm just hiding it. I just want to show you everything. So let me arrange everything on one screen, and then I will describe what exactly all of these nodes mean. Because as long as you understand these nodes, there is nothing which can stop you, to be honest. Okay, all the nodes are now arranged. Let's try and start from the left, and we will start understanding what exactly these nodes are. So let's start from load checkpoint. This node is used to load a checkpoint model or a model in simple words in ComfyUI. You can load either .safe tensor or .ckpt checkpoint models in this node. So if you go to Hugging Face, you will see that most of these stable diffusion models, they either come in safe tensor or CKPT. Safe tensors is proprietary format, which is a zipped or encrypted format from Hugging Face, whereas CKPT format is a plain text, normally used for training and stuff. Anyway, so load checkpoint node is used to load your model, which could be in .safe tensor format or CKPT format. Just like you first select a checkpoint model, you can then load it from here just by clicking. If you have multiple model, it is just selecting this default one here. So this is what it is. Then you see the outputs of this model are this node are model, clip, and VAE. Model is primarily in a UNet format. This is a model which is used for image generation process, and this gets connected to this case sampler always. Then we have something called as clip. Clip is used to encode text prompt into a format that this sampler understands. So this is all clip does. So for example, you see here in the top one clip text encoder, we are asking it beautiful scenery, nature, glass bottle, landscape, purple, galaxy bottle. So this is a text. This clip model encodes this text into a format which is understood by this sampler, which actually generates the image. Similarly, we have two types of text. One is a positive prompt and one is a negative prompt. For example, positive prompt is the top one where we are giving it beautiful scenery, nature, glass bottle, good things. Negative prompt means where we tell it what not to do. For example, if we are drawing something human face, we don't want it to be malformed, or limbs should not be malformed and all that stuff. So this is what this is. Anyway, third thing in this one, so the purpose of clip is to encode this text prompt into a format which this sampler will understand. Then we have this VAE. VAE is stands for variational autoencoder, something like that. And primarily, uh, the purpose of VAE is that it encode or decode an image to and from latent space to pixel space. Now just hold on. I know this was a bit of a mouthful around VAE. I will describe it in more detail once we go to this VAE decode node, as you can see on the right. So just hold on there. I'll get back to it. So just remember that VAE gets connected. If I just take you here, you see the VAE, this pink one is directly going to that VAT code, nothing else. And from here, this model and clip, so model is going to the case sampler and clip is going to where? To this clip text encode and clip text encode. And by the way, clip stands for okay, it is just a bit skipping my mind. Let me. It is contrastive language image pre-training. I always keep forgetting it. Anyway, but that is not really important because these acronyms make it more harder. It is very simple, by the way. All these clips are doing, it is making our text prompt compatible to what we have in the case sampler, and that's about it. So now we understand what this load checkpoint is doing. Now we understand that what this clip text encode positive and negative prompt is doing. Let's move on to this case sampler because I believe that is the heart of this. So what case sampler does? Case sampler node is a node responsible for sampling process, or in other words, image generation process. This is the node where the text prompt is converted into an image. And this is a node which takes most time to run during the image generation process. Now, if you look at this, in this one, we have few inputs. We have model, which we are receiving from our load checkpoint node. We have positive, negative prompt. Positive we are receiving from this clip text encode, and you can see that output of that clip is going into the input of this positive. Similarly, the output of this clip and text encode, the bottom one, is also going into the negative one here in this case sampler. And then we have this latent image which is coming from this latent image node. Now, if you look at this latent box, this is all it is doing. It is providing us an empty image which is specifying what should be the width of our target image. So it will be 512 by 512. Batch size means how many do we want it to get created. So this is all we are doing. Now one thing which is a bit confusing here is what exactly is latent here. So let's try to understand in very simple words what is latent. When we say latent, it means hidden. It means an abstract representation of an image. Now think about it like this. All we are doing it here is we are providing it as a text prompt. There is no image, right? And then in empty latent image, we are just providing it an abstract, a skeleton, that whatever image it is going to create should have width of 512, height of 512, and we only need one. But still there is no image. So there is an abstract latent space, hidden space, where this image is going to be created. So that is what latent is, which is hidden, which is not yet created. And this case sampler will receive this configuration from empty latent image, and then it is going to use it as a seed and go through various steps. It will keep in perspective our positive and negative prompts. It will use our model, and model is model which is trained on different images. It knows how to create an image from a text prompt. So that is why we have model, right? And in image to image ones, instead of giving it an empty image, we also give a sample image, and then that becomes a latent image or a seed image or a base image. On the basis of it, it creates a further configuration. And if you look here in the case sampler, there are a lot of other stuff happening, like what is a random value control steps, how many steps it needs to go through in order to create it, and then there is a sampler scheduler. Don't worry about these things for now. And most of the time we just keep them as is. We don't really worry about that much. But just to describe you in a very simple words, the seed is just a random value. Steps is the number of iterations for diffusion process to refine the generated image. That's it. CFG is configuration. This control models behavior such as text prompt, weight, and guidance scale. Sampler, there could be different sampler which you can select here. Right now it is selecting Euler. You can go with PLMS, Keras, there are heaps of them. Scheduler defines the noise schedule and diffusion process dynamics. Basically it just goes through diffusion, it keeps diffusing the model and then it creates it from there. That is what this denoising is, where we also specify what should be the strength of noise removed from the image. That is how it works. So these are the parameters which are fine tuning the image generation process. But again, in a very simple words, what is happening here is this case sampler is primarily generating an image for you. That's all it is doing. Now, if you look at above, this is a VAE node or variational auto encoder. These are used for either encoding or decoding an image to and from the latent space. In this case, we are just decoding it. So what we are doing it, this is a latent space. So this latent space means that it is still in abstract way. We need to pixelize it so that we can display and save it in the bottom right node. So in order to convert a latent space image to a pixel image, which can be displayed and shown, this VAE is used. And every model has a VAE component and a checkpoint component. So for example, if you're going with a stable diffusion model, you need to download both CKPT, safe tensor or CKPT or checkpoint plus a VAE, and make sure that you use a compatible VAE for all model. Otherwise, because every model creates its own compatible latent image, and only its associated VAE model would know how to convert that latent image into a pixel image. So that is why we use the VAE. So this is what VAE is doing. And then finally, you see the output of this VAE decode is just a result image, which we are saving here. That's all it is doing. And you can of course use it and you can connect as many nodes as you like. This is what whole ComfyUI is. And this is whole stuff around the node management and what exactly node is, how to connect it. It is all the game of input outputs and understanding what each node does. And now let me show you how you can load the model and generate an image from just text prompt by using ComfyUI. So you see that we have default workflow loaded here, but there is no model, right? So how do we download the model? Because if you run the Q prompt now, it will give you this error. So first thing you need to do is to make sure that you go to this directory in home ComfyUI models and checkpoint. It is empty at the moment. So you need to go to Hugging Face or wherever your model is. So for example, if I go here on Hugging Face and the website is huggingface.co, on Hugging Face, if you click here, you will see that this is the model. Then click on Files, scroll down. Now, if I take you back to ComfyUI, just for example, you see if I check my load checkpoint node, it says v1-5 prune ema only.ckpt. Go back here and you see this second last file is the one which we need. So click on it, then scroll down. You see this download button, right click and save link as, and then save it in this ComfyUI models checkpoint folder. Click on save. It's a very small model, by the way. So if I click here, you see that it is just 4 GB and it is downloading. So let's wait for it to get finished. Shouldn't take too long. It is already there. And while this is downloading, let me introduce you to AgentQL, which are the sponsor of this video. AgentQL is a query language which is not only quite performant but also quite valuable. So what this does is that it turns any web page into a data source. With its Python SDK and live debugging tool, you can scrape and interact with web content. AgentQL works on any page, public or private. It is resilient because its page structures change, but AgentQL still remains the same result. It is reusable and it structures output according to the shape of your own query. It is also quite robust alternative to fragile XPath and DOM CSS selectors, as it uses the power of AI to analyze the page structure to find the data you are looking for. Okay, so our model is downloaded meanwhile, as you can see in this directory. Next up, go to your terminal. Just press Ctrl C here because we just need to restart ComfyUI. And then again, python main.py, just run it. Let's wait for it to get started. And once you see that URL on localhost like this, then you can go back to your browser. In your browser, go to ComfyUI, just reload from here. And it is reloaded. Let me make it quite shrunk it. So you see our prompt is beautiful scenery, nature, glass bottle, landscape, purple galaxy bottle. Click on Q prompt on the top right, and then you will see the node which is in progress. It is working. So right now it is loading our model onto GPU, and then case sampler is generating image, and there you go. This is our image. And look at the quality of this stable diffusion image. How cool is that? So again, just to reiterate, what happened here is it has started the workflow, and step by step it has moved across. First it loaded the checkpoint model, then it encoded our positive and negative prompt with a clip, and then both of these were given as an input to case sampler, and another input was a simple latent image configuration, that what sort of specification we wanted. On the basis of these four inputs, case sampler used its own hyperparameters and then generated the image in latent space. And then this VAE decode, which is a variational autoencoder, converted that latent image into pixelized image, and then we have this image on the top very right. How good is that? So this is how ComfyUI works. So I'm quite hopeful that this was easy enough, but still, if you feel that it was not easy enough, let me know how much money did you pay me, and I will return it back to you, as it is money back guarantee. And seriously, ComfyUI is one of the best tool out there, and there are a lot of other things which you can do with it. You can community has created so many workflows so that you don't have to create these workflows by yourself. You can simply download them from the internet and then simply click on load here. It will be simple JSON file, and you can simply select that JSON file and load it, just like we loaded this default one. And then another tool which is quite famous is it is called as ComfyUI Manager. So what happens is that there are a lot of extensions and plugins which people have created, and ComfyUI Manager enables you to do that. Plus, if there is any missing node, it also resolves those dependencies, but they are a bit advanced. I already have done a video on it, so if you're interested, just search with ComfyUI Manager on my channel and you should be able to find it. But hopefully this was easy enough. Let me know if you still have any doubts or struggling to run it, install it, or understand it, and feel free to put it in the comments. I'll be very happy to answer. And if you like the content, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. And if you are already subscribed, then please share it among your network, as it helps a lot. Thank you for watching.